Stop being average, start becoming unstoppable. Most people will live and die inside a cage they never realized they built. Not one of bars or walls, but of doubt, delay, and dead dreams. The tragedy? They had the key in their hand the whole time because average is not a condition. It's a decision made quietly, over and over again, in the small, unseen moments. To sleep in when you said you'd rise, to scroll instead of study, to wish instead of work. And every time you bow to comfort, you feed the very force that keeps you average. But you weren't made to blend in with the background noise of the world. You were made to become a signal, sharp, clear, undeniable. Look around. History is written in sweat and scars. The names we remember: Lincoln, Edison, Ford, Mandela. They weren't born with some divine advantage. They simply refused to be average. They chose to be forged, not found, built, not handed. And that same fire, that same blood, that same force is in you right now. Dormant maybe, silent, but not gone. It waits for a decision. So let this be the moment, right here, right now, where you stop being a spectator in your own life, where you stop watching others build legacies while you settle for routines, where you choose to walk away from average and toward unstoppable. Because average wants you tired. It wants you distracted, insecure, and polite. Unstoppable wants you focused, disciplined, lit from within. One feeds your ego, the other fuels your soul. The world will sell you average because it's easy to manage. Unstoppable is dangerous. It breaks molds, questions rules. It builds businesses from garages and empires from ashes. But it all begins in one place: your mindset. Every victory, every reinvention, every revolution begins in the mind. You don't become unstoppable by accident. You become unstoppable the moment you declare war on the thoughts that have kept you small. Look at any great mind: Carnegie, Jobs, Churchill. They trained their focus like a sword. They didn't entertain every fear or chase every trend. They mastered their inner world so they could shape the outer one. You have to stop waiting for motivation. Stop asking permission. And stop believing the myth that your circumstances define your ceiling. They don't. Your standards do. When you raise your standards, your identity starts to shift. You no longer tolerate the thoughts, habits, and people that keep you average. And when that shift happens, even just a little, the world around you begins to bend. Opportunities reveal themselves. Momentum begins to whisper, more is possible. But mindset without belief is like a map without faith in the journey. You have to believe, and with unreasonable intensity, that you are meant for more, not because someone told you so, but because something within you won't shut up about it. That whisper, that ache, that restlessness in your gut when you play small, that's your future self at sea, calling you home. The truth is, belief is a form of discipline. You have to practice believing in yourself, daily, relentlessly, especially when the world tells you you're crazy, especially when there's no evidence yet, especially when it's hard. Because every empire you admire began in the dark, before the lights, before the applause, before the world cared. Edison failed 10,000 times before the light stayed on. Ford was mocked for imagining cars when horses were still king. Disney was told he lacked imagination. Imagine that. But they all had this in common: a clear vision that burned louder than any doubt. Clarity is your compass. Without it, you drift. But with it, you move with force, with direction, with obsession. What does your unstoppable life look like? Can you see it? Not just in generalities, more money or more freedom, but down to the grain, the mornings you dominate, the body you build, the impact you make, the people you serve, the version of you that stares back in the mirror, sharp-eyed, focused, alive. That vision must become a blueprint, not a fantasy, but a standard. You don't hope to get there. You build it, one choice at a time, one day at a time. And to build it, you must connect to your purpose. Because purpose is what keeps you going when the fire dims, when the motivation dies, and when results still feel 100 miles away. Most people stop because they don't know why they started. They chased results without rooting themselves in something deeper. Purpose is deeper. It's not about you. It's about what comes through you. The lives you'll touch, the pain you'll prevent, the light you'll pass on. Samuel Smiles once wrote, Self-help is the root of all genuine growth, of individual and national character. He didn't just mean pulling yourself up. He meant becoming the kind of person who doesn't need pushing anymore because they've learned to pull purpose from pain, to extract wisdom from every fall, to use their life as fuel. Purpose gives discipline meaning, and without discipline, purpose dies in theory. Discipline is love in action, the kind of love that doesn't always feel good in the moment, but plants the seeds for a life you can be proud of. It's doing the work when no one's watching. It's saying no to what's easy so you can say yes to what's essential. It's understanding that every shortcut comes with a silent tax, and every excuse is a debt you'll have to pay with regret. The average wait for motivation. The unstoppable build systems. They don't rely on mood, they rely on movement, because momentum is the child of consistency. And once you get moving, truly moving, life starts to move with you. But even the most disciplined path will meet resistance. That's where most people quit. That's where you rise. Because if discipline is the engine, resilience is the armor. The path to greatness is paved with setbacks. Failure isn't just likely, it's required. There will be days when your work feels invisible, when you give your best and it falls flat, when your voice shakes, your ideas get rejected, your body aches, and the only thing staring back is silence. But remember this, silence is not the absence of progress, it is the forging of it. The seed makes no sound when it breaks the ground, but in that silence it becomes unstoppable. Resilience is trusting the process when the results haven't arrived. It's falling in love with the effort, not just the outcome. It's standing up with dirt on your knees, looking failure in the face, and saying, "You don't get to write my story." Abraham Lincoln lost election after election before becoming one of the most transformational leaders in history. Thomas Edison failed thousands of times before the light bulb changed the world. Colonel Sanders was rejected over 1,000 times before someone said yes to his chicken recipe at the age of 65. Age, failure, rejection, delay. They didn't surrender to these things. They learned from them because the truly unstoppable know this truth. Failure is feedback. Pain is a professor. Delay is preparation. When you stop taking setbacks personally and start seeing them strategically, you become invincible. You stop seeing obstacles as walls and start seeing them as weights, there to strengthen you, to shape you, to reveal to you what you're really made of. And what you're made of is potential. But potential is wasted without learning. Every experience, good or bad, contains a lesson. But most people never ask, what is life trying to teach me right now? They numb, they blame, they run. But the unstoppable reflect, they study themselves. They know success isn't something you chase, it's something you align with. And alignment requires awareness. Learn from your patterns, learn from your wins, learn from your wounds. Self-education is not a phase, it's a lifestyle. Read the books, study the giants, track your decisions, make reflection a habit. And soon, wisdom becomes instinct. Action becomes automatic. Excellence becomes your identity. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. So build systems rooted in learning, in feedback, in refinement. Because mastery is not about doing more, it's about doing better, smarter, clearer, deeper. And when all of this combines, mindset, belief, vision, purpose, discipline, resilience, learning, you become something the world can't ignore. You become a force. And that force does not chase success, it attracts it. Not through wishful thinking, but through gravitational energy. The kind that draws opportunities, people, and progress toward it, because it's undeniable. This is when the shift happens, when you stop asking if you'll succeed and start deciding how. This is when mornings become missions, when routines become rituals. When the man or woman you used to be is no longer recognizable, not because the world changed, but because you did. And now you walk differently. Not with arrogance, but with alignment. Not with fear, but with fire. Not with doubt, but with destiny. And that's when the final piece activates. Gratitude. Because the unstoppable are not just obsessed with growth. They are grounded in grace. They know that every breath is borrowed, every lesson is sacred, and every step forward is a gift. They give thanks, not just for what they have, but for who they are becoming. Gratitude turns your hustle into harmony. It tempers your ambition with appreciation. And it reminds you, you're not chasing a life, you're creating it, right here, right now, with the choices you make, with the thoughts you allow, with the standards you set, with the boundaries you build, with the love you give, with the work you refuse to compromise. You are not average. You never were. Average is what the world conditioned you to become. Unstoppable is what you were born to remember. So rise, get up, get focused, get dangerous to every excuse that ever told you to settle. Burn the script that said, play it safe. Rip down the ceiling someone else built for you. And write a new story. With your hands, your heart, your hustle. You don't need more time. You need more decisions, more conviction, more fight. And it starts now, not tomorrow, not next year, now. Because the world doesn't need more average. It needs more you, fully awakened, fully alive, unstoppable.